For committee. All right, well, I call this meeting of the Lake County E911 Authority to order. It's the 8th of November, 2023 at 14:02 hours. Does anyone have any changes to the agenda?
How many changes?
Yep. I entertain a motion to approve today's agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
And any further discussion?
Not for me.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Come on, Claire. Just as an introduction, a lot of work has been put into development of this board. I'm very excited to be here today with this group of people to lead our dispatch center and the emergency telephone services for our county. So thanks for everybody who's put all the effort in to get us to where we are today. And I look forward to continuing to work with all of you.
And thank you, Sheriff, for the same. Absolutely. Appreciate it.
All right. We do have any, okay. So we'll now take any comments from the public on any of those agenda items. And just Andy.
Yeah.
No comments here.
Thanks, Andy. Hi, Andy.
Hey, everybody.
All right, we'll go over the agenda of new business items. We'll start off with item A. And discussion and consideration of the E911 Authority bylaws, which I'll allow Claire to speak on.
So, in your packets, you'll see the newest updated copy of the bylaws. They've gone through some kind of minor revisions, both major and minor revisions. They've been kind of sent around a few times around the block in the past few months. One revision that I made is in section 2.6 regarding removal. We received language a few months ago from Chris Floyd talking about good cause and reasons for good cause. And in there was change of residence. Upon conferring with Chris a few days ago, we can kind of decide what good cause is. We don't have to have change of residence in there. I think we were all kind of on board with removing change of residence as a reason of good cause, so that was taken out. But everything else is kind of basic, felony convictions, malfeasance, conflict of interest. That is there. In addition, under 2.6 removal, section A, for considering the removal of the director, what I basically put in there were kind of some limits around our board as the E911 authority, is that if before we take a vote to remove a director, that we would notify the agency of the director of concern and allow the agency to make an attempt to remedy the issue or situation before we take action as the E911 authority board. We will also inform the Board of County Commissioners of the responsibility of the county commissioners to consult with the agency of the director of concern as well before they take any vote for removal of director. So that was kind of the largest change within that section.
You didn't get any feedback on that?
I have not received any feedback on that.
Cool.
I haven't heard anything negative. And from my understanding that it's all good to go.
Perfect.
Andy, I don't know if you have anything else on that section?
No, I think it meets the request that we had, so thank you.
Tim, do you have anything?
No, I don't, thank you.
Cool.
And then St. Vincent's legal counsel did also provide some feedback. It was all grammatical in nature, just trying to kind of clear up some of the language, mainly referencing, instead of the board, the E911 Authority Board of Directors, just referring to us as the board. So those grammatical changes were made and they didn't consist of anything substantial. And that is it.
Any other questions or thoughts on bylaws?
No, sir.
All right, hearing no further discussion, all in favor, passing bylaws?
Can make a motion.
No, sorry.
Okay.
Let's see, I make
Request a
a motion.
Do you waive the
I read-
request to make a motion?
I entertain a motion for the approval of the bylaws.
I move to adopt the bylaws of the Lake County Emergency Telephone Authority as of November 8th, 2023.
Cool. Now hearing no further discussion.
Someone say second.
I'll second that.
Excuse our rookie status here.
No worries.
All right, hearing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, item B of new business items is the discussion and appointment of the E911 board officers to include the chair, vice chair, treasurer, and secretary. So the board is, it consists of those 4 positions. We have 5 entities involved. There's been discussion with the city involvement on this with the chief of police as the interim position that we did not take on one of these roles until there's some permanent actions there. So is there any other discussion on the board officers?
I hope so.
I don't have anything.
Yeah, I don't have anything.
Sheriff, I really appreciate your leadership at dispatch, forever, definitely in the past year and a half or however long you've been in office. And I would definitely like to see you continue in the chair position.
Okay. Yeah, and I'd like to nominate Dan Daly as the vice chair with over a decade of experience here as a first responder, heavily involved in our communication center. I think he'd be excellent for that role. Okay.
And I'll nominate Claire as our treasurer. Thank you for taking that role, and if you're willing and accepting, I think you'd be a great asset to keep us on track with that.
And I also think that Jeremiah brings a ton of experience and knowledge to the role, and I appreciate you as the secretary.
Works for me. Thank you, sir.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, we'll try to hit it right this time.
You're fine.
Entertain a motion for the approval of the appointment of the E911 board officers. Myself as the chair, Chief Dan Daly as the vice chair, Claire Skeen as the treasurer, and Jeremiah Grantham as the secretary.
So much.
I'll second that.
Yeah. Any further discussion? Nope. All right. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor for appointing the E911 board officers?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Just like to take a moment, just for a second, I think, because this is historic, I think, in nature. I felt like there was a big, huge check mark just now. We did the bylaws and we've appointed the board. And I'm thankful for that because I know that we've been talking about this for a very long time. And as you said, I've been here for a long time. And I know that this has been a discussion through many agencies and also through former sheriffs to get us here. So thank you and everybody here. I think that's just great.
Yeah,
and we're
I very much agree.
forward with this.
No, I've been working on
You
this
don't need to
since
catch the
May
minutes. I just
2022.
wanted to
Yeah.
say I appreciate
No.
this moment.
That's,
I really do.
this has been months in the making. You're not wrong.
Years.
Years.
Years, yeah, years at this point.
Multi-decades. Talking about this.
All right. We'll move on to new item C, which is the presentation and discussion on current E911 funds, our draft budget for 2024, budget priorities, and along with the supplemental request. Discussion again, Claire, please lead us through this.
So, sorry. let me do this. So these are just some recent projections that I've been working on. Is there a way to just make this go away?
Yeah, go with hide floating meeting controls.
So this is kind of where we are right now, as of the last reconciliation statement concerning the E911, the emergency telephone charge statement. You have the beginning balance, you have what we've brought in so far this year as of October 11th, the interest we've received on the account, so that's the total received is going to be the tax plus the interest. The telecom providers can charge up to 2% on what they remit to us. So that's right there, that number, and then what we paid so far out of the E911 fund this year. Most of that, or a little bit of that, is CenturyLink, our annual Everbridge contract, our PO box for our telecom providers to submit their checks to, the backup dispatch equipment through Communication Solutions. So as of that, October 11th timeframe, that left us with an ending balance just over $479. I project, looking at kind of past November and December, that we'll get a little bit more in throughout the next month. We'll get some more interest. The big things coming up are some payments. So we'll have kind of a little bit more going to CenturyLink. For mailing, we are discussing later today raising the emergency telephone charge to $205 as allowed by the PUC.
Yeah.
That would require notice to all of our telecom providers, and we'll go over the draft letter and everything, but this is just cost to mail that out. That may go out if we decide to contract that out. It'll be cheaper if I just hole up for a day and give myself paper cuts and send some letters out. So that's just the mailing cost. I know in dispatch we've been having issues with the telex machine. I know you guys have received a quote. The higher quote for that was $26,000, and I can let you guys talk more to that. And then we also are working on getting a new cooling unit for the server room. The total cost for that is $20,000, split between the sheriff's office budget and the E911 budget. So $10K out of ours. Do you guys have anything you want to add on the telex?
Yeah, so we received two different quotes for more of an immediate repair, since one of the dispatch centers, communication portions of it's down right now. One was around 18,000, this one was around 26,000. Option A was just a Band-Aid, really. It was taking an inappropriate piece of equipment, not built for sustainability and running for 24/7, and they were gonna modify it to make it work, just to try to save us, and it was more of an immediate presentation for a fix. This one is the actual piece of equipment that's necessary to fix it from the company that made it in the first place, so it just seemed more appropriate. It's gonna take a little longer to get it here. Communication Solutions has worked with Telex to try to get us one as soon as possible. We're hoping for next week sometime, so that was just the difference in the options to repair what's needed, like today. We need to fix this now.
And I just want to highlight that Chelsea has done literally everything under the sun to try to figure out what the issue is here and what different paths that we can get to fix it. So thank you for all of that. This is not a number that was arrived at quickly. It was definitely a lot of trial and error before we got here. So any questions on kind of where we currently are, or where I think we will roughly be by the end of the year? So this is where we stand right now for the 2024 budget, kind of the first draft. It's important to note that by our next meeting in December, I do plan to have long-range projections done as well in accordance with the IGA and Lake County financial policies. So in 2024, if we do raise to 205, I do expect that we will kind of bring in about $250,000 through the emergency telephone charge. That's about a 13, raising from 205 to the 181 we're at now, is roughly a 13% increase. So nice little bit more there, and that 250 does account for the telecom fees that the providers can take out. The last numbers that we discussed for payments from the IGA agencies adds up to about 610. That's 346 from the sheriff's office. The city has budgeted Leadville PD and the fire department at 173 and 59. And then the last number we had for St. Vincent's was 32,000. So that all feeds up into that 610, which gives us a total revenue of 860. So the first part of the budget is going to be our personnel. Everything from line A12 to A19 is going to be salaries and wages, overtime, FICA, Medicare, unemployment, retirement, health insurance, and retention and incentive. We definitely want to invest in our people moving forward into 2024, training, retaining, and hiring new dispatchers to get a fully staffed dispatch center. This does include a 7% increase for all of our dispatchers, as well as hiring an executive director. And these are numbers that I think we've kind of been floating around for a while. Does anyone have any questions on personnel? So the next few numbers are what Sheriff Speckman has been working on as he works on the 2024 dispatch budget. So office supplies, operating supplies, the difference between the two is that office supplies are traditionally consumable, your sticky notes, your pens. Operating supplies are more non-consumable supplies to function in your office. Telephone, which I know you guys have been going through those invoices a lot this year, kind of hammering out those charges. Professional services, which would include things like the Everbridge contract, funding for communication solutions, etc. Travel and transportation, training and education, dues and subscriptions. I put 15,000 aside for a transfer to the general fund to cover things like finance, HR, grant support we discussed. Is the county happy with that number?
Yeah.
Cool. The only two outstanding items, so actually I'll say this. So as you can see, if we received payments in that amount from everybody, got the expected ETC revenue, then we kind of have $15,000 surplus. I would like to set aside money for equipment purchases for dispatch, and then also Chris Floyd cannot advise the Emergency Services Council, the E911 authority. So we will need to kind of set aside some money for legal fees if we want to, pursue any legal consultation. She is reaching out to her listserv to see who has some experience in advising emergency E911 authorities.
Okay.
Andy, did you have a question? Oh.
Yeah, I was just curious, how many total employees will the dispatch center have?
So that'll be 6 dispatchers with a supervisor and the executive director.
Okay.
And that's for 2024. And you'll see when we present this to get this into our budget for our next meeting, that we'll have more of a long-range plan built into that. That will get us through 2024, but we need to build that up so we can provide emergency medical dispatching to our citizens. And so we're kind of planning on that being a couple-year build out.
Okay, sounds good. I was just curious.
Sorry, Jeremiah, what was your
Oh,
question?
no, you're fine. So Chris Floyd wouldn't be able to advise us even if we contract with her separately?
Correct, because she represents the county.
Perfect. Okay.
So my hope is by the time when we come back in December, I'll have this a little bit more built out. Is the eForce contract accounted for in dues and subscriptions?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So.
And that was split to just recognize the need for dispatch, since we use it as the sheriff's office. So we usually receive one bill for it, but we split that bill up just to identify the needs for dispatch center.
Nice.
So the sheriff's office portion of eForce is not included in that.
Okay, good.
Thank you. So, we kind of talked about end of year 2023 projections so far, for 2024. Not including kind of equipment purchase and legal fees, we would see about a 3.2% growth in our fund balance. But that will go down as we.
Please put both of those back on the screen,
Yes.
please. Yeah.
So that is all I have on 23 and 24 financials.
Any questions? Tim, you have anything?
I know, thank you.
And we don't need to do anything with the budget until the 11th?
Yeah. Yep, that, which leads us to our new business item D, as the discussion and meeting schedule for the remainder of 2023. There are some dates that are written into the IGA, but since we're just now starting, we're going to make sure that we accomplish as much as we can with what's left in this year. So we've set our next meeting for December 11th. Is there a time that we?
Yes. 10:30 at City Hall.
Okay, so next meeting will be December 11th at 10:30 at City Hall.
Do we have any interest in doing any work sessions beforehand? I think one thing that has been kind of outlined is when we look at the cost payments and the numbers that come from dispatch on making sure that calls are being correctly attributed to each partner agency. I know you and Chelsea are working on some new numbers and all that. Do we want to schedule time to go through that and talk more about that?
I would like to, and even if it's not just that too, we can also talk about, long-range planning, what we expect to kind of build out, especially on the salary front, what we think that should look like. So, yeah. I'd like to schedule a meeting.
Do a budget work session? Do we want to schedule that now?
Yeah, that works for me.
Might as well. You want to do it before the 11th?
Yeah. I think that last week of November, that 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th, and the 1st is my best availability.
Not mine.
Okay.
Would you be available virtually? No. We could the 4th. That's when you're.
I could do the 8th, that Friday.
Works for me.
I could do it in the morning. We have our fire academy graduation that afternoon, but I can do it in the morning.
Friday the 8th?
Yeah.
That's fine.
In the morning?
Yeah.
You want to say what time is graduation?
It's at 3.
Okay.
So.
Do 9? 9?
Yeah. Yes.
Alright, so we'll do 9 AM on the 8th as a work session.
Okay. With a budget work session.
December 8th at 9 AM.
Yep.
Place DVD?
And preliminary conversations for long-range planning.
Anything else on the schedule for 2023?
I think that should cover it. I think those are the main things we need to hit.
Okay. All right, we'll move on to the next item, item E, the discussion and consideration of raising the local emergency telephone charges to 205 from 181, which will take effect February 1st of 2024. Claire, you want to kick us off on a discussion with this?
Yeah. So I've drafted resolution 2301 for you guys that would increase the emergency telephone charge from 181 to 205. So every year, the Colorado Public Utilities Commission meets and sets the authorized rates for prepaid wireless, for the emergency telephone charge. And they did issue a decision this year where they raised that maximum threshold without PUC approval to 205. So what that means is that any county in Colorado that has an emergency telephone authority, or however they handle it, whether it's their commissioners, can raise their emergency telephone charge to 205 without having to go to the PUC for approval. If we wanted to do 206, 207, $3, we would have to do a formal PUC approval process. So this is the resolution that would establish that. As I mentioned in the financial report, that would bring in about I think it's 12.6, just under a 13% increase to our ETC revenues. And this would allow us, to definitely increase our funds. It would go into effect February 2nd. I'm sorry, that should say February 1st. It would go into effect February 1st. It would require a 60-day notice to all of our telecom providers, which would go out on December 1st, or postmark by December 1st. Right now, I know Federal Heights has announced their intention to raise to 205. I have not seen any other authorities planning to raise. It's kind of a quick overview on things.
And December 1st is the latest that we can send that out.
Yes.
It has to be 60 days prior.
There's only 2 available times to put an increase into effect. The first is February 1st. The second is June, July. It's in the summer.
I think I read June today.
Yeah.
2 options.
But I think you have to submit a request to change it by August.
For August?
Oh, I think the request is June and then it goes into effect in August.
I don't know when August is. Yeah.
But it's the same thing where you have to send it a certain day and then
Yeah. So the state does provide a database of all the telecom providers. Kind of looking at our October statement, we've got kind of a variety of things coming in from different providers that are still in business, providers that, earlier in 2022 paid and didn't pay again for the rest of 2022. One provider paid once for a check of 70 cents, which is a very old rate for us. So I think it would be best if we just hit that entire database and just got them on the page that we're at 205, please remit.
And that's what the fee you accounted for back in the budget presentation, was to mail those out.
About 500.
Yeah, $500.
I would be going to volunteer my time to help you mail it out.
Cool, thanks. What's your mailing rate?
Right. You don't want to know. Okay.
And then, the other part of this, and I can show it too, this is the letter, sorry, OneDrive kind of messed up the formatting.
Okay.
But this is the letter that I've drafted to announce our increase just to the service provider. It'll be in effect February 1st, 205 per line. This is everything it covers. I have verified all the statutes, these are still in effect. This is the area codes, the surcharge increase effects, the telephone prefixes that serve Lake County. And then I just verified yesterday with the treasurer's office, the remittance address, so $80 a year we pay for the PO box. It's PO Box 205. And then the checks will be made to Lake County E911 authority. And the treasurer's office is aware of that. They will also get a copy of the resolution. And then Delta County included a map of the boundary areas that affected. I don't know if that's necessarily needed for us since we only have one PSAP and one county and a city. So I might save a little bit of paper and ink there and not send them a map.
Sure.
Unless anyone feels really passionate about.
Unless it's not required, then I don't see the point.
I didn't
If it's
see
required, then great, but if it's just a nice thing, then what's the point?
That's a terrible map too.
It's a screenshot from our GIS. Yeah, and so when we took this this is an example letter from Delta that I used for a base. They have multiple cities and jurisdictions paying into it.
Yep. That makes very sense.
And their map looked about the same, just for the record. So, I'll probably take that out, save some ink, but that's the letter that's drafted,
So the charge, so the charge is only by area code and the prefix?
yes.
So what was the remind for then, if it was just the city, or was it?
That's just marking the city of Leadville's boundaries,
Oh, okay. But it would affect all of Lake County?
yes,
But it only, interesting.
but only in the county. What's your thought?
No, I just think whenever you're ready to take on more, cause right as people keep their cell phones for their entire lives, I didn't realize that like my personal number, right?
If you have a Fraser area code.
Yeah, so it pays that, and then my work phone doesn't pay into this. Interesting, I didn't know how it was done, just thinking,
I now,
because if they can track you.
I now know a lot more about telephone exchange prefixes than I ever wanted to. But yeah, so it does, and that kind of answers, I think, some of the questions that we've had surrounding, what happens when you move and all that, and it's basically, they're just running the numbers. If the number is registered here to Lake County, we're getting the E911 fee. If it's somewhere else, they're getting it.
No kidding. It's too bad they don't take it off like a ping from the tower if you're here for a certain period of time, but things like this, yeah, something just that.
Public announcement, everybody change.
Yeah.
Lake County.
So I think that's really all I had. Did I answer all questions or any outlying concerns? As I just scroll and not give everyone a chance to read and stop touching it.
No, it's fine, I don't have any questions or anything.
Cool. Andy still on?
I think we are.
Think so.
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm actually looking at my cell phone bill out of curiosity.
Time to switch your number.
Yeah, I know, paying those dang Nebraskans, tell you what. No questions, thank you guys.
Thanks, Andy.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we've missed one increase, that was it 196 is the current rate? And just a couple notes from our conversation with the PUC is this is something they do annually.
Yep.
As they create that threshold, and their intentions are to keep up with inflation is their main intention. And we plan to look at what's really necessary for our county, what's needed, and to be good stewards of that tax dollar.
Can we have a quick conversation on what is the criteria, or what happens if we need more funding? What is the actual max that we could request beyond that threshold? What is that?
I've seen up to $3. I don't know if there's a limit on going further than that. There are, and I can send you on the PUC's website, other counties' applications that they've done for their justification and their notification. So it's a possibility, for sure. But the last max that I know of is $3. But I feel like somebody, when I was going through the PUC decisions, somebody just applied for $4. So.
Not saying that that's a thing that we should do.
No, because it sounds like a pretty arduous process
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get that PUC approval.
Well, and cost increases everywhere already.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it'd be an option, but I think in an emergent fashion it wouldn't be.
I think the other thing I just want to point out real quick is the ETC charge is different than the prepaid charge. So the prepaid rate is charged separately than an ETC. So when you buy a prepaid cell phone, you pay a different tax on that compared to a local emergency telephone charge. And then we get a monthly check from the state that includes all of that tax revenue. That's usually somewhere between like $1,500 and $2,000. So go buy a prepaid cell phone. Andy, did you have a question?
Yeah, glad I looked at this. So actually, Lake County 911 surcharge is on my Verizon bill. So it must be tied to your billing zip code or address, not your actual phone number.
Huh, interesting, must do both.
Oh, so we're, okay.
Yeah.
I'm happy to share my screen so you can see all what I'm looking at, if you'd like.
And that's from your out-of-state number?
Yeah, correct. I have
We could
three other Colorado surcharges, Lake County SLS tax dash telco and Lake County 911 surcharge.
Interesting.
Maybe we should reevaluate the letter.
Yeah, what it could also the letter be saying too, kind of rereading it, is that this is just the area that our PSAP serves.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can definitely take a look at it.
Okay. Thanks, Andy.
No problem.
I wonder if, our friend from the Jeffco E911 could look at it, his
Yeah.
name I can't remember.
Jeff Streeter.
There it is.
That's a good idea.
Just to get to it for it.
Yeah.
We just wouldn't be able to pass it today if we're looking into it, correct?
We can still pass the resolution, it's just the
And,
notification
okay.
letter that needs to tweak.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Just making sure. So like we don't meet again until December 11th.
Right.
So
Yeah, we can, if there's no other discussion on that, I can go ahead and read the resolution.
Do we have to read it in the record?
You sure do.
Does he have to read it or can we delegate it?
Whoever wants to read it.
Thanks for volunteering.
Okay.
Don't forget the typo.
crash there, right? Yeah, exactly.
Andy, did you have something else? Is your hand just still up? Sorry.
That's a second somewhere, that was actually the first.
No, sorry, I forgot to lower it.
No, you're good, just wanna make sure I wasn't missing anything.
Yeah.
January. This would be effective. It'd be effective January 1st, 2024, correct? Or February 1st?
February 1st.
February 1st. This one is what are you talking about?
This one is different.
60 day.
Opens up.
Can you pull up the one that you have? Scroll down to the bottom of the page, please. Where it is. You corrected the February 1st.
Yeah, should be February
Yeah, so
1st.
that's just the January 1st.
This one here.
Yeah, this was January 1st, February 1st. We're talking.
This is different.
This is really down.
Yeah.
So is it, are you looking at this one right here?
That's the February 1.
Yeah.
So the ETC threshold, that charge goes into effect on January 1st, but it doesn't start hitting our,
Oh, right.
Right, that's where it's saying
Notifications
January 1st
That's
here,
correct.
February 1st there.
Yeah, not the second.
Alright, I got you.
Yeah.
Alright, resolution number 2023-01, resolution of the Lake County E911 Authority of Lake County, Colorado. Resolution increasing the emergency telephone charge from $1.81 to $2.05. Whereas the Lake County E911 Authority was initially established through intergovernmental agreement for E911 telephone service dated October 7th, 1990, which was superseded by the second amended and restated Colorado E911 Authority intergovernmental agreement dated September 12th, 2023, and whereas the authority is a separate legal entity pursuant to CRS 29-1-103.5 and a public entity pursuant to the Colorado Governmental Immunity Act, Article 10 of Title 24 CRS, and whereas the authority set the emergency telephone charge, the ETC, as authorized by CRS 29-11-1022 for Lake County at 181.
I think that's an older copy.
How many copies do we have? That's the right copy?
Changed.
Sounds like it.
Okay. Well, now I lost my place.
You can read it off the screen.
So, you have the correct one? Either way.
This is the one I sent out in the packet.
This looks right. Yeah, okay. Alright. Whereas the authority set the ETC as authorized by CRS 29-11-102 for Lake County at $1.81, effective February 1st, 2022. Yeah. And whereas the Colorado Public Utilities Commission issued decision number C23-0641 on September 27, 2023, which established the 2024 ETC threshold, state 911 surcharge, prepaid wireless 911 charge, and surcharge distribution formulas pursuant to CRS 29-11-102 through 102.5, and whereas the result of the decision was the increase was the increase, was
To
to
increase.
increase the ETC threshold charge to $2.05 effective January 1st, 2024. And whereas the authority's board of directors desires to increase the ETC in Lake County in order to adequately fund 911 services in the authority's service area to provide life-saving response calls for service, and whereas the authority spends the ETC revenue in compliance with CRS 2911-104, and whereas the increase and future expenditures allows the authority to invest in training and equipment to better equip Lake County Dispatch to assist residents and visitors in Lake County. And whereas pursuant to CRS 29-11-102 2B, the authority will give the required 60-day notice to service providers. That's the first two. To service providers of the attempt of the Lake County ETC to raise to $2.05 as of February 1st, 2024. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Directors, Lake County E911 Authority, and the Lake County ETC will be set to $2.05 as of this resolution to go into effect on February 1st, 2024. Moved, read, and adopted by the Board of Directors of the Lake County E911 Authority of County of Lake, State of Colorado, at this regular meeting held the 8th day of November, 2023.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was one of my shorter resolutions.
Yeah, it's not so bad, actually.
Well, I entertain a motion for the approval of resolution 2023-1, the resolution of Lake County E911 Authority of Lake County, Colorado, resolution increasing the emergency telephone charge from $1.81 to $2.05.
I move to approve resolution 2023-01, resolution of the Lake County E911 Authority, Lake County, Colorado, to increase the emergency telephone charge from $181 to $205.
And I will second.
All right, hearing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, last item, discussion, item F is the discussion of an appointment of interim executive director for Lake County Dispatch. So the discussion point here is, this is identified in the IGA as something that we shall appoint. We do not have that person at this time, so we're looking to appoint an interim executive director while we seek to hire one. This is something that we want to have a discussion with at this point, and with the hopes of appointing an interim executive director for the during the December 11th meeting. There's also been some discussion on requesting some help in this position from Chelsea Parsons, who's now our supervisor in communications. So we're discussing that at this point to see if she has the capacity to do so. I think she's best fit for the position, but I look forward to that conversation to see what other thoughts are in place.
I appreciate, I know you've been in this role for about a year now, correct?
Officially 6 months. Unofficially,
Feels-
yes.
No, but I think dispatch has come a really long way. I only look forward to how it continues to grow. And while we kind of work through the budget and posting for this job and everything, I think you would be a great intern to fit for this as we move forward. And then with the hopes that we could post in the new year for the executive director and go through that hiring process, which I would definitely encourage your thoughts on as we move forward. I do worry about your capacity because I know you guys are absolutely slammed in there. So how would you feel, kind of taking on the additional responsibility?
I feel like I didn't come fully prepared.
It's not super official. We just
We're
want
talking.
to understand how you feel about it. It doesn't have to be super formal.
I feel like I am doing a lot of the tasks now because they just have to be done. I don't know all the job description tasks. I can come more prepared December 11th or sooner. But I do agree with you a little bit on the capacity. I did notice that we didn't say anything about a second supervisor in the 2024 budget. But maybe hiring a director and having a supervisor definitely will help. I am considering it. I guess I just wanted more concrete, what are the tasks that are required, which is probably in the job description, and compensation for performing those tasks.
I have a question. And forgive my ignorance of not knowing like your chart, your hierarchy right now. So you doing the supervisory role and the director's role. I know how it goes in Lake County where we wear 15 hats and then you get bumped up in that position and you do get overwhelmed, and we don't want you to get into burnout, of course, but do you have somebody on your staff now that could learn the position above them and be able to be mentored into a supervisory role, or do you have somebody available to be able to stand up in the supervisory role so that we can place you in the interim so you can focus specifically on that? And the reason why I ask this is because this is a new board, this is a new path for us, and this may need some attention that I would be afraid to have you do dual roles.
I would say at the moment, I had one or two options, but as of the 11th, I will no longer have that option.
Because you're losing personnel.
Yeah. Yeah, our two more experienced, one's going to Adams County and one's going to Buena Vista, where they live. They've been commuting, so they've established jobs down there. So yeah, it does leave us from an experience standpoint.
They might have a potential, but it's definitely gonna need to be built out to that, up to that point.
And to that point too, if someone was promoted, would that leave a dispatcher role?
They'd have to do both.
Sure.
Yeah. And what we can explore is just the basic duties that the IGA identifies, that the executive director does, to just say that's all we're adding to your plate at this time, to make sure that we're at least abiding by the IGA. Not necessarily taking on the full brunt of every single line item on the job description. That might be something that we can put into place to help manage the situation that we're in right now.
Yeah, I like that idea, doing only what's required out of the executive director role, so she's not, so you're not overwhelmed, you're taking on some extra, but not the entire thing.
Right,
I like that.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like Dan said, we have to wear multiple hats.
Correct, right.
Not accessible to the disc.
Let's see if I can hold on here.
I
Yeah,
definitely,
Sorry, I would definitely like to go over those, just so I know what I'm signing up for.
and I really appreciate your honesty and candor and everything you've done.
Yeah, there might be some more details in the bylaws on what that role is responsible for, but I can read section 2.09 of the executive director. Chelsea, if you wanna, this is from the IGA. Yeah, if you wanna pull it up.
Oh, the IGA?
Yeah.
Do you have what section it is?
2.09.
Where's it oh, here it is. Oh, no. Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
So that's interesting.
So the board of directors shall appoint a chief executive officer of the authority who shall have such power and responsibilities as may be determined by the board. The executive director shall have general supervision, direction, and control of the affairs and business of the authority, subject of the control and limitations placed by the board of directors. The executive director shall have no power to amend the annual budget, sign checks, change the emergency telephone charge, or change the scope of the emergency telephone service provided by the authority. The executive director and all other employees of the authority will be considered Lake County government employees who shall be subject to all Lake County government human resources policies, including without limitation those applicable to conducted standards, benefits, and pay and information technology. The board may provide input on the compensation of the executive director and all other personnel. So with the IGA, I think there's more details in the bylaws that maybe we can pull up too, but with the IGA, it's just basically based off of our direction.
I couldn't find the job description on my files for some reason, I don't know why.
I think it's in, Jazz HR, the applicant tracking software.
I think that's gonna give us a greater scope on what we can highlight in there and see what might be appropriate.
So this is the addition here is the last sentence. The executive director will be required to provide a biannual report to each 911 director and party of the E911 IGA regarding E911 activities and financials. So that's the portion that I was thinking would be at a minimum, just the additional tasks of taking on. But the bylaws bring up as one of the duties for that position.
So for the financials, with Claire being the treasurer, would I work with her on that?
Yes.
Okay, and then the activities are basically what we've been working on. Okay.
Yeah, it's any of the biannual reports, everything you could bring Claire with you and report out on those with that.
Just at one of these meetings.
It'd be here, and then it would be to St. Vincent's, the city, and the BOCC.
So 3 different presentations on a biannual schedule. But like you said, I do believe you are doing a lot of those things already, or you are a county employee. Some of those things line up nicely for you to take on those extra duties. And then it also in A states that the board may provide input on the compensation. So I know that's a topic to discuss also, if you're gonna take on the additional roles.
Yeah.
Is that something we want to leave until the 11th, or do we want to work on the 8th?
Yeah, well, we planned on the 11th and just wanted to discuss it today. Yeah.
Am I supposed to decide right now?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can discuss budget and adding additional to pay and salaries and all that, and how we wanna work that increase.
Okay.
Because the 8th will just be a work session, and so no decisions will be made.
So we're gonna discuss it further on the 8th?
Mhm. Yeah, with the hopes of making a decision by the 11th.
I will come more prepared on the 8th.
And I'll find that job description and send it to you.
Okay, I have one from you, but I don't know if it's the most updated.
Thank you for all that you're doing.
Of course,
I
am
imagine it's a
excited for
daunting
this.
task.
I mean, I've always wanted to be a voice for dispatch, and I'm wondering that we're all finally able to work together.
Well, we're seeing good change from it, so it's,
Yeah, it's great to have this board of all the main users, so we're all very familiar with what goes on in there.
I'm gonna come and see you to maybe just do like a few ride-along in a introduction, more so than what I already know, dispatch, if that's okay.
Okay, I'll be back in dispatch on the 26th.
Yeah, I'll be out a lot of the month of November, but I'll reach out. Nothing pressing, just to come visit and learn.
Okay.
All right, anything else?
And then you'll get it, we'll provide, also a copy with the job description.
Yep.
Okay,
I'll send it to
oh,
everyone,
thank you,
yeah.
yeah.
It's in the
Lost
applicant
in my
tracking
sauce.
software.
Yeah,
It's,
No,
we've gone through so many things with it.
right, yeah, that must be a good one, would be good.
It's all ready for approval. The executive director position is in Jazz HR, so all ready for approval.
Just gotta hit submit.
Yeah. Cool.
Right, so next meeting, our next work session will be December 8th.
Yes, so we'll have the work session on December 8th at 9 o'clock, and then our next regular meeting will be December 11th at 10:30 at City Hall.
What's the location of the work session on that?
We can have it here, we can have it at City Hall.
If this is available.
Yeah, I'll see if this is available, but it should be.
If it's not, you let me know and I'll see if City Hall is.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, do the whole entertain motion to adjourn the meeting, is that the proper closure?
So moved.
All right. Meeting adjourned at 14:58.
Thank you so much, Andy.
Thank you guys. Good work.
Thanks, Andy.
See ya.
I'll tell you what, sure, keep it under an hour like that.